to you, I will always return.
WEFM is SVG.
WhatsApp us or call us at 457-9997. Activated Mornings on WeFM 99.9 is on now.
Explicit, boy.
All right, the ladies of the morning are back with more Activated Mornings talk time right here on the Clean Fresh Sound 99.9 WeFM. At this time, we usually have our commentary from Mr. Kingsley DeFreitas, but he has not yet called us. So Kingsley, if you're planning to do so, we're going to give you a couple seconds to give us a call, all right? Alrighty, he's usually not late with his. He's okay. Oh, hello. Good morning.
Yeah.
Good morning, Kingsley.
Yeah, me alright, fine. Me alright. Sometime last week I was listening to the radio station and they were speaking about the politics, right? And because of the airport location, in the constituency of Southwood was all the time. And I heard that the Prime Minister and the Minister, Felix, even say that he's taking a leave of absence. But when I hear that, I chuckle because I realize that that is being politically correct. But Mr. Stevenson, from Listen to People, didn't deliver as he should, and they're considering changing him. I understand that one of my close friends, Mr. Lenny Deasy, was considering to be one of the postmen showing interest. Then they have a young man who is lecturing at the community college. But I also understand that the authorities want to see if they could get Senator Morgan to be the candidate of choice. But, you know, I really wonder if that's really going to be possible. Because the young man who is showing extreme interest is from the area. And because the authority is trying to get Senator Morgan, I'm wondering how the people in the area is thinking about the choice of the candidate. Because Mr. Lenny is a relatively good person in the area, and the young man who people thought that would have been obvious was super dark pitbull, didn't show interest at all. For some reason, his senatorial appointment fall off the grid and he's not appears to be interested in politics. But so I am wondering how the people in that constituency is going to fare out if the authority suggested to them that when I say the authority, I refer to the Prime Minister, that he's the authority and everything. I am wondering if he is insisting that Senator Morgan be given a chance, but I don't know if her roots isn't from this area. I know she's from some of the Windward side, so I'm wondering how people are going to react when they hear that Dr. Gonsalves mystery suggests to the ULP, let's give Senator Morgan a chance to see if she could win the hearts and soul to the people of South Windward. So I just should have talked to see if people will respond to that, or if it's just a rumor that doesn't bear any fruit, and the young man who is working at the community college will eventually succeed the sitting minister, Felix Stevenson. Because I tell you something, I was one person who thought that Felix Stevenson would have delivered. But for all of a sudden, the man just get complacent, and the people saying to the authorities that they don't want him to be their elected parliamentarian anymore because he gets lackluster and not doing anything. So I'm just hoping to see how they will react to the choice of the young man or the Senator Morgan who the Prime Minister would like to see be a candidate in the next election. And that's my thoughts for today, okay?
All right.
And I'll have a wonderful day.
You
All
too.
right,
Thanks,
okay.
Thank you. All righty then. So that was Mr. Kingsley DeFreitas with his usual morning commentary, and the question that he's asking. What's the question?
Well, who will be the ULP candidate for South Windward?
Right, that. Who will be the ULP candidate for South Windward? And well, I haven't heard, Kingsley, I haven't heard anything about Miss Morgan being selected. Maybe I haven't been listening in the right places, but I have not heard anything about her being proposed for that constituency. But I think it would be an interesting thing to see who is, if she is being proposed for the constituency, it would be interesting to see who is chosen, because the young man has shown his interest. He has said that he wants to, he wants to be the representative and the candidate. He has been involved in several activities. Now, Miss Morgan is the deputy speaker of the House, so I think it would be interesting to see who is chosen. Unfortunately, I'm not even from the constituency. I don't think I know anybody that I talk with regularly from that constituency. So I can't really say how they would feel, they would prefer to have, if they're feeling this young man who is from the area. So they probably will be a little bit more connected to him, or feel that he could represent them better or best because he is from there and probably would be aware of their needs and how to reach them and so on. But it would also be interesting to see how they feel about Miss Morgan, who is the deputy speaker of the House here. That's the most that I could say about that at this time, because I don't have any more information, and like I said, I haven't heard about Miss Morgan. Roleza, you heard that?
Well, I heard it.
Okay,
I heard
okay.
about it last week in conversation with somebody. Heard of the conversations happening, but I am not sure. Nothing has been confirmed, and there is actually a story on Asbode News Network published, I think, this morning. Was it this morning? The 10th was one yesterday. Anyhow, but it's just an interesting headline that made me chuckle. But so there's Louis Daisley, Asha Morgan, and Rodan John, whose names have been put forward, I suppose, either on the ground or whatever, to contest that particular seat, right? I will leave my commentary with regards to this when the person has been confirmed, right?
Yeah.
I would leave it there until such time, because anything else right now would be speculation. So.
All right. All righty then. But before we give any more comment on that, just to let you know, at 8:30, we are supposed to be conducting an interview with some students of the Windsor Primary School. So at 8:30, you can look for that. Those are the same children who made the plant-based battery. So we're going to be looking forward to having that discussion with them here and having them talk about that project. So I hope that you will stay tuned for that as well. All right.
So before we head into the other topic at this time, how many of you remember that today marks 5 years since COVID-19 was declared a pandemic?
Wow.
All right. It's been 5 years. All right. So today, March 11th, was when the COVID-19 pandemic was declared in 2020. And when I thought about it, I couldn't help and stop and think about, so yes, I know that COVID-19 did a lot of damage, right? It caused a lot of deaths, etc. But I'm also wondering how many persons have taken what may have been some of the positives out of what the pandemic brought, right? And I know it's probably very difficult to say positives. Yeah, positives.
That's turn. I'm listening.
All right. So some of the positives that I realize, that I recognize, right? For some persons who may have been in jobs that they did not like. And I'm speaking of some of the teachers and, well, the public servants, teachers and police officers, etc., who were dismissed on account of abandoning their jobs. I met two persons recently, one of them in particular, teachers, former teachers, and they did not take the vaccine. And when I asked them, so how are you doing now? And one of them actually told me that he is thriving so much more now.
Amazing.
Because what has happened is that he was sort of forced out of the profession that he wasn't necessarily totally enjoying, and he's gone into self-employment. And from being self-employed, he is now thriving in, and he's saying that he has no regrets. So, when I'm thinking about some of the calls being made for persons to come back, and if you're going to be making repeated calls, them ain't coming back, right? When I think about even like another police officer friend, good morning, you're probably listening at this time. When he was in the force, he didn't feel as if he was being valued enough. Promotion wasn't happening. So at the time he was considering, even before then, considering leaving the country to join another military service elsewhere. But now he has found himself being self-employed as well. So when I think about it, I also think about situations where there are some persons who may have been going to jobs, either jobs that they didn't like or jobs that were taking so much out of them, time away from their family, etc. And now they had to, during the pandemic, they had to think about, well, what actually is important to me? Is it this job that I'm killing myself off over, that I'm not actually spending time with my child or my children? I'm not spending enough time with my spouse. How many of them found themselves in that situation where they thought about, you know what? Maybe I can do something else that would encourage me to have a proper work-life balance. And that was something that was talked about a lot during the pandemic, proper work-life balance. And I wonder how many persons, having gone through that experience, have recognized what actually is most important to them. So I do note that, yes, the pandemic wasn't the best. Many persons lost their jobs. Many persons died. Many persons may have had other effects or other things happening as a result of, other effects of probably coming down with the virus. But in every little thing, sometimes we can probably see some positives. And
well, that is true. They always say to try to find the good in every situation. So I like that you highlighted that, and I'm really pleased to hear, especially where that person said they're now thriving. I'm really, really pleased to hear that they're doing better outside of what they were doing before. So big up them, man. All the best. All the best. So I guess that's the only positive, that some of them are now doing better.
Yeah, okay. And the other thing too is that we always need to encourage proper work-life balance. And some persons may not have had a full appreciation for it before the pandemic happened. Some persons are realizing that I don't have to go into this job every day. In terms of going into the office, they can still do the work remotely. And it did put into context, is it really necessary for persons to go into an office for them to function effectively? Because one of the things is that there are many persons who have tasks. They have tasks and duties assigned for a particular day. There are things that they can accomplish, but it doesn't take a full 8 hours.
Yeah,
so once you can get your task accomplished, you can have the rest of the day to yourself, right? And it's not necessarily employees' fault, because if you've given me particular tasks for the day and I've accomplished
done it.
I'm done.
And I don't even got to get dressed.
So even that whole thing about remote working, there are still some persons who can do remote working. Some persons can. There's some organizations have said, okay, well, maybe you can come in into the office 3 days a week, and the other 2 days you can work from home. So there are still some positives that are still lingering, that we can highlight and be happy about. Now, I'm not saying that we want for this pandemic to ever come back, although we do know that the norovirus seems to be an interesting one. But seems to be an interesting one. But there are just things that I always think that there are positives in every situation. There's always a cloud in some dark
silver lining.
Some silver lining.
Oh, every dark cloud has a silver lining, right?
Dots, all right.
Anyways, thank you, Roleza, for highlighting some of those positives. I like that, persons can now say, you know what? Although COVID was horrible, at least some persons sort of benefited from some of the things associated with COVID. So kudos to you on that one. Right. So the minister...
We could go in after.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. All right. Right. So it is now 7:59 and it's getting a little bit closer to 8 o'clock.
And Dianna is trying to ramble so that his seconds go goodbye. Right? So if there's anybody
and it
celebrating
means-
a birthday today,
Oh,
we just want to say
yes.
happy birthday to you.
Yeah, happy
Right?
birthday.
What else do you want to say, Dianna, so that the seconds can go by?
Well, we're just counting down. Good morning, Rajiv. How are you doing today? You
It's
look
not
lovely.
Rajiv's birthday, but he has on a very interesting shirt. All right.
And it's 8 o'clock. It is 8 o'clock, and this time check has been brought to us by the New Haven Funeral Home.
Death